and welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, and yes, we talk about the pursuit of happiness, and we show the world that us Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good day, good week, wherever you're located. Just remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. I have a special guest in the studio today, former state trooper and current sheriff of St. Martin Parish, Mr. Sheriff Becket Breaux. Sheriff, welcome to the show today.
Good morning, Isaac, and I appreciate you having me. It's really nice when we can speak out and have a voice out there. And
yes,
I appreciate
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be honest with you. We met under some weird circumstances, but I'm glad we met. We became good friends because of that circumstance.
Absolutely.
So everything works out good. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, if God's in the center of it, or if God has a plan, there's somewhere or another you're going to meet with somebody. So we've been in contact since then, and probably about a half a year now, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we've been. I voted for you, by the way. I'm just saying.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes,
I really
sir,
do
yes,
appreciate
sir.
it.
But Sheriff Becket, before we go on, I know when we discussed this interview, you wanted to go ahead and thank the people of St. Martin Parish because you ran unopposed this time. So.
Absolutely. And look, I appreciate the people of St. Martin Parish, hiring me as their sheriff for the next 4 years. It's I love what I do. There's no other job that I'd rather have than this job. And people ask me, you want to do something else? You want to move on? No, I moved where I want to be because I help the people in this community. And I believe that making a difference where you live, there's no other job better than that, And God has blessed me, and the people of St. Martin Parish has blessed me with this job. And look, I truly appreciate it, what everybody's done and supporting me more than anything else.
Yeah, and we were watching the race here at the BJS Media because we live in St. Martin Parish, know. And look, it just shows a testament of how y'all doing your job because, like we can use Sheriff Garber from Lafayette Parish unopposed. Right. And when you start talking to people from Lafayette Parish, they're like, well, look, they're doing their job. So it's good that we have two sheriffs, especially neighboring sheriffs that I know you probably talk to Sheriff Garber ever so often, but y'all work together and y'all doing your job.
Absolutely. And look, it takes a partnership, not just with the community, but other agencies. Me and Sheriff Garber are good friends, real good friends. And then me and Tommy Romero, we're related. We're first cousins, but he's got Iberia. And it's nice to be able to pick up the phone and call your neighbor and sheriff and ask for help. Or vice versa. We'll help them when they need, and they help us when we need. And there's nothing else better than you can ask for that, because you just double the amount of your police force doing that,
Right. And especially in a day and age, because I talked about the show on Friday, Saturday, I released the episode, and I talked about how, the media is not focusing on certain things, migrants beating up cops in New York, and it's sad to hear that. But I know we don't have that problem here in Louisiana as much, but it's sad where you have, law enforcement are not respected no more. They're not looked up to because this is New York's finest, and these cops were horrible. They were beaten up, and then the guys just walked off and left the state.
Right, and what's terrible, Isaac, is police work is not what it was before. You have to be a social worker, you have to be a law enforcement officer. Sometimes you have to be a preacher. It goes on, a counselor, all in one job. And law enforcement is probably one of the few jobs that where you have to know everything. And it's really difficult at times.
I got you, but before sheriff, you were part of the state police. What was that? What was your role in that? And
look, let me tell you, I love state police. I started off state police at 19 years old. I couldn't buy bullets at Walmart. When I became a trooper, I had to send my mom. True story. But I worked for state police right under 30 years. And I started off as a trooper, worked my way up to a sergeant, and at that time, 2003, I left and ran for sheriff. And it wasn't my time. And sometimes God has a message and does things for a reason. And it was a blessing because I went back to state police. I was fortunate enough to go back to state police. And they hired me. I worked my way up to a major. And at one point, I was in charge of every troop in the state, which is about 700 troopers.
Right.
And they sent me to FBI Academy. They sent me to Northwestern School of Staff and Command. I was fortunate because what I did was my resume was beat 20 years ago. And I promised myself that I wouldn't be beat again. And I worked hard for my education, and basically, I got a degree while I was a trooper, actually within the last 8 years, and I got my master's degree because that's one of the things I promised the people of St. Martin Parish. I said, look, I'm gonna get a master's degree because I've worked on it, and I'm gonna finish it. And I did that. I did that in 2023.
Wow.
So it feels good. It's a good feeling.
Do you ever think you being older, you would still be getting degrees from colleges and stuff?
Yeah, I got it at 52 years old.
Hey.
But my daddy passed away in December 7th, and I worked hard to make my family proud, my dad proud, because my daddy was a guy that pushed me to my limits, and I worked hard. I say I didn't make him proud when I left because he has a family-owned business, and I decided to go into police work. But I worked hard every day after that to make him proud. And before he passed away, I got a degree, and not only that, I became sheriff.
Right.
And he was really proud. He loved the people of St.Martin Parish. He loved the people who supported me, and Daddy was my biggest supporter.
What made you want to get into being a police officer? Because we have a mutual friend that's the captain of Henderson PD,
Right.
and I heard his testimony, and he said that was kind of like a call. Was that kind of like you, or?
Absolutely. I started off with Charles Fuselier at 17 years old, and I worked in parks while I was going to college, and that's what I wanted to do. And after that, I applied with state police. 19 years old, I got hired, but once you get it inside you, it's hard for you to veer from that goal. And I work with Jeff Landry. Jeff Landry worked in parks also. And he's a hometown boy, and Governor Landry. We just passionate. And like I said, I was passionate in law enforcement, and I don't think there's any other job for me because I love what I do. Yeah.
And being a sheriff now, you have some say into what goes on into the community, and you're helping us out in April with our cook-off. So
Right.
so it's good to see that too, Sheriff, because I watch your posts for the St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Facebook page and your Facebook page, and I see you out in the community. I see you doing some time patrol, and I think people admire that more. Besides the sheriff just standing behind a desk.
Right. Well, look, I get calls at the office, and when I get calls, they say, look, I want to see the sheriff. I'm coming over, and my assistant, Sandy, will tell them, he's not in the office. He's out of the office. And they say, well, every time I call, he's not in the office. He's a working sheriff,
Right.
And I believe that. Yes, I do go on calls. I do make traffic stops. Now, you have to do something real bad for the sheriff to stop
Right.
you, but I do make traffic stops, and I do put people in jail, criminals in jail, bad people, and like I said, I've said it from the beginning. You have three choices. And Isaac, if I can say it again, because people hear me say it all the time, you have three choices. Get your life right, become part of a great community we all love, which is St. Martin Parish. If you can't do that as a criminal, move out of St. Martin Parish and move somewhere else. And if you can't do that, well, you're going to become a resident at 400 St. Martin Street, which is your jail.
Right.
And like I said, I'm hard on crime. And when I ran for office the first time, I told everyone, I was being hard on crime because my kids, which is your kids and everyone else's kids, lives in St. Martin Parish.
Right.
My kids are being threatened and are given drugs at a young age so they can become their best buyers or customers, and that really, gets a thorn in my side. And like I said, I am hard on the drug dealers, people who need rehabilitation. Look, come to the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Get help. We want to help you, but the drug dealers, I have no tolerance for that.
Well, the drug dealers, they're just looking for that extra dollar in their pocket.
Right.
And look, I'm gonna say it like this because I saw a movie the other day and I saw there was somebody portraying the drug dealer and stuff, and I looked at the people that was watching the movie with me. I said that got to be a special demon inside of a person, because it's not it's not just them giving them a substance. It's them ruining their lives.
Absolutely.
And look, we have this issue at the border. I know it's a natural issue, but we talk about it all the time here at the Cajun Conservative Show. The border crisis. Why you think we having so much issue at the border? It's because we're worried about the fentanyl coming over, and it's sad that we have people from other parishes bringing in their illegal substance here. It's like I said, that gotta be a special type of evil in a person to do that to another human being.
And you got people mixing cocaine, heroin with fentanyl. They're not chemists.
Yeah,
so
they're
we
not.
have overdoses in St. Martin Parish, and it's because they're buying these drugs thinking they're getting cocaine, which is not good, but they're mixing fentanyl with this, and it's becoming a bad situation. Once you get on drugs, it's very hard, difficult for you to get off. The rehabilitation period for heroin addict is over 11 months, 12
Wow.
months. And that's why we try to educate people. Look, don't do it. If you need counseling, you need someone to talk to, look, come talk to us before you do it, because if we can put you on the right track, that's all we want to do is
Right.
put you on the right track. And I've said, when I took office, I said, if you can't clean up your own house, how are you going to clean up the streets?
Right.
So we did some things at the jail where we arrested 15 people that had this PayPal accounts that were buying drugs and selling drugs within the jail. I put a X-ray machine like you go through the airports that everybody gets arrested goes through it, and this X-ray machine, sees if they got anything hitting on them. But like I said, we have to clean up our house before we start cleaning up the streets. I worked very hard to do that, and now we're working on cleaning up the streets.
And I was about to ask you about it because you said on your first time running, well, the first term, I believe in 2020, you ran. You said, "Look, I'm hard on crime." And I remember your ads. I remember the message you put out there. What is your plan for the next 4 years going forward on this second term of your?
Well, and look, it's continuing on that. It's on that. I've talked about getting a rehabilitation team within the St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office. Look, that's not our job, but if the Sheriff's Office can do that and get a rehabilitation counselor, addiction counselor to help my people, our people out, that's what we want to do. And if I can help them before they get into the drugs and using drugs, that's what we want, because when someone becomes an addict, they'll steal from their family. The only thing that's important is a drug, and it's a shame, but that's just the way it is. But being able to build on that and education, I believe in training my deputies, training them to be professional, training them to de-escalation, where it's not always getting in a fight with an individual, but talking, have a conversation with them. We've got great deputies out there. And I've always said we have a world-class sheriff's office, and I believe that, because of the people we have working for me. I don't, I just steer the boat.
Right.
I don't power the boat, and it's the people around me who do the job they do, which is a great job, that help out.
So with that being said, you have any special message you would like to give to the voters out there, or the people that that are listening to this podcast? Because we're all over the world, and you're representing police officers today,
Well, look, and like I said, some people outside of St. Martin Parish, they might say, well, he's hard, he's too hard on crime, he's too rough. Well, my deal is, I got 54,000 people in St. Martin Parish I have to please, and I'm concerned about 54,000 people. I'm going to take care of our people, our families. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to do the crime, you're going to do the time. Just leave St. Martin Parish if you can't stop. That message has been crystal clear from the beginning. And there's an individual I put in jail more than 8 times.
Wow.
I'm going to continue putting him in jail. He might get out on bond and waiting his trial, but I'm going to continue putting him in jail, until he's convicted and he serves time for the crimes he's done. It's, if you see something, and I tell that all the time, if you see something, look, we got a sheriff's office app where you can report a crime. You don't have to leave your name, just report a crime. If you want to do that, if you want to make a phone call and say, listen, I think they're selling drugs down the road from my house, but I want to leave my name. That's all you have to do. People are scared to report something. And let me tell you, Facebook is not a way of reporting a crime. No. A lot of people say, hey, they got this going on down the road, wish they would do something. Well, the sheriff's office don't always look at Facebook.
Right.
Look, get on the app, get on the website, St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office.org, and report the crime, because it's a partnership. We can't fight crime without a community support. I'm telling you now, and we're only as good as our community around us.
And that's what a lot of people, I feel they do wrong. They want the sheriff's office, or they want they want the police department to, oh, why they're not stopping this? But if you're not doing your part as a community, because there's a lot more than just voting for you,
Right.
Sheriff Beckett. It's us, like what we had an incident a while back. I found some people, we got in touch with one another, and now the issue is somewhat resolved. Now it's going through the legal process.
Right.
So, but if I wouldn't have picked up the phone, we would have had a lot more issues, and then y'all probably would have showed up on more worse circumstance than y'all did.
Right.
So, it does take that community effort to help out. And I do like how you said this earlier, because you bringing that point back. You're talking about rehabilitation and stuff. Do you have like pastors or ministries that help you out with this this rehabilitation? Because especially me as a youth minister, I see young minds.
Right.
They're very influential, and you come across every so often somebody that's depressed and somebody that wants to get a good high out there. We have to deal with that in the church, but y'all deal with that outside the church. Do you have partnerships like that with?
Absolutely. At the jail we have where ministers come in and priests come in and they talk to the individuals that are incarcerated in there. Not only that, if a family member comes and says, I need help with my son, we try to do that. We're doing it on a lesser scale than I was talking about our rehabilitation program that I'm trying to come up with. But look, there's a guy at the office and that does an excellent job. He'll find a rehabilitation place to put your son, your daughter, your family member. If they're in jail, putting someone in jail who's an addict is not the answer.
No.
It's putting someone in a place where they can rehabilitate and get their lives straight. That's what we want, and that's what we try to do. Not only on an adult level, but on a juvenile level. Right. We have a juvenile crime problem. And this is not St. Martin Parish. This is across the state and across the nation. We have more juveniles committing crimes than in the past. And we have to get a handle on that and come up with better programs to talk to these juveniles and get them where they need to be, away from crime, be a productive part of society, get a job. Look, if you want to be something, don't let anyone say you can't do it.
Right.
My dad, he was adamant that, you want to be a policeman. And I can understand that because nobody wants their daughter or their son to be a policeman. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
But once Daddy seen that was my passion and I did it, he was supporting me. And I always said, do what you love, because it never becomes a job. To me, it's an adventure. I love what I do. When I stop whistling in the morning to go to work, it's time for me to go home, and my wife says that. And she says, how can you be so happy to go to work, And I said, I love what I do. And I tell everybody, do what you love.
Right.
And at the office, I got individuals that I talk to, the employees, are you happy? No, I'd rather be here. And I try to facilitate that because a happy employee gets the job done and more productive, and the morale's better.
You're talking about that because that was a question I was thinking about the interview. We talked about the nation, a cop be beaten up in New York. We, especially after the riots of 2020, a lot of people that were police officers resigned, and there's a shortage of police officers, just not in this state, but all across the country. Have you been feeling the impact of that, or do you see the negativity of, police officers getting a bad light in the national media?
Absolutely. Listen, I think there's bad apples in any profession that there is. No matter what profession, school teachers, civic workers, public workers, the clergy. There's always, you got bad apples in there, and don't let these bad apples, one or two, dictate.
Right.
What the people are or the policeman, law enforcement is. Look, and I'm not proud to say this, Isaac. I made 3 arrests on 3 deputies in St. Martin Parish. All right, but my deal is, and I said it before, if I can't keep my house clean, how can I keep the streets clean? And we arrested them, and it's not our job to convict them. We had a probable cause to put them in jail, and we put them in jail. And I believe that we should be an example for everyone in St. Martin Parish. And my deputies know that, and if they commit a crime, they're gonna do the time just like everyone else. because we have to be the example. And you asked about, keeping employees, looking for employees. 74% of people that work and get a job, they stay at their job not because of pay. They stay at a job because the morale, the way they treat it, and the way the organization is created, and
Right.
their visions. I'm proud to say, look, we have less than probably 2%, 3% openings out of 230 something employees, 240 employees, which equates to 7, 8 openings, the whole department. That's astonishing compared to everyone
Right.
else. You're talking about 20 to 30%. New Orleans is probably down 40%. There's a whole bunch of agencies that are down. It's just that I believe if you treat your people right, and listen, you treat them with respect. Not only that, you pay them for the job they do. Then they're going to stay with you, and they're going to work hard for you.
And that's good to hear that we in St. Martin Parish, we have openings, but it's not rampant to where you're putting out a Facebook page, hey, anybody come with a gun. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but on one final note, before we wrap this up, you do have a good program that I love, and one day I'm planning on probably taking it. The concealed carry program. A lot of people in St. Martin Parish don't know about it, and for all my national listeners. Louisiana's an open carry state. You can open carry, but you can't conceal carry unless you go through a class and get a permit.
Right.
Now, Danny McCormick, state representative for the first district, is trying to pass legislation to where you can do that. I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well. But your program, I believe it's free. And that's a class. If you go anywhere else, it's almost $100, $150.
Absolutely.
How's that program going? Have you seen a good response out of that?
Yeah, look, I've got, and for you listeners, what we do in St. Martin Parish, we have a state-of-the-art shooting range,
Right.
Firearms range, and the people of St. Martin Parish paid for it. So why not let them use it?
Right.
So what I do is I pay my deputies overtime, and whoever wants to come, if you get online, there's a schedule on when we have openings, and we won't charge you anything. We'll teach you the class, and we'll help you fill out the paperwork to send to state police to get your concealed handgun carry. Because I believe in it. I believe in the Second Amendment. Look,
Right.
Isaac, I said things, during the campaign. I'm saying them now. I'm going to protect you from the street to your doorstep. It's your job to protect you and your family inside that house,
Right.
your house, and we want to help you protect yourself and protect your family. So, look, we have shooting classes, we have self-defense classes, we have hunter safety courses. Yep. All of that is free. Sheriff's office don't take a dime from it, because I believe giving back to the community. If we can do it, that's what we want to do. Look, we got a fortunate community here. This is a great parish,
Right.
and I love St. Martin Parish, and our people. I will give them everything that we're able to do, and help facilitate making their families safe, help them make their families safe, and have a better way of life. We did a poll where 72% of the people said that St. Martin Parish is a place they want to move and keep their family because they feel safe here. And we're going to pick that number up.
Right.
It's going to be 100%, because I believe that St. Martin Parish is one of the safest communities, in the state. And we're going to work hard to ensure that.
Yes, sir. And what's your view on Danny McCormick's conceal? Because you do the concealed carry classes, and I'm a big opponent of the Second Amendment. I don't believe people should strap on a gun and be like Wyatt Earp on the street, but because look, I've taken hunter safety, and I've never taken the concealed carry, but I've shot firearms
Right.
practically all my life. I had a dad and had relatives that said, look, you respect the gun. You always treat a gun as if it was loaded. You never point a gun at people unless you're intended to use it. So I've had somewhat of training in operating a firearm safely.
Right.
But Danny McCormick, look, I'm for it. I think we should have concealed carry, but at the same time, I think people should have the knowledge to carry that. But what do you think of the bill overall? And I don't know if you have any insight into it.
Yeah, I think the concept is a great concept, because you know what, you shouldn't have to pay for your First Amendment right, to carry a gun, your Second Amendment, and I believe carrying a gun should be your right, but at the same time, I don't think a 19-year-old person who's just bought a gun should put on a gun and carry it concealed and go out there. There's a whole bunch of situations, a whole bunch of things that come into play. When you carrying a concealed gun and you go into and there's an incident that occurs, you bringing a gun into that situation. Not only you bringing a gun, you got to protect that gun from someone else taking it from you and shooting you with it. So there's a whole bunch of things that come into play when you're carrying a concealed gun. Look, I think everybody should carry a concealed gun. Everybody who needs to be trained to carry that gun.
Right.
There should be a mechanism where it's free, of course. And look, the sheriff's office wouldn't be a problem for us to say, okay, before you carry this gun, we'll give you the same concealed handgun training that you have now.
Yeah.
And do that. And you carry a card from us saying you were trained. But there needs to be some type of minimum training for you to be able to do that. Because you don't want everybody going out there and just putting a gun on. I'm telling you, you got people that are felons.
Yeah.
And then you actually give them a card. You give them permission to carry a gun. Now, look, a felon's not supposed to have a gun in possession, but you're talking about someone who committed domestic violence yesterday, and he's carrying a concealed gun and going back to the house. And, there's a whole bunch of things that come into play that we just need to monitor and make sure.
So I got a question on that because I Representative McCormick, and I haven't talked to him since he put the bill for the legislation coming out. One of his big opponents of it is that if you put a coat over it, it becomes an instant felony. Do you think the legislation of our state should go ahead and at least put that as a misdemeanor? Because, let's use me, for example, if I'm walking down the streets and I have an open carry and I have a jacket on and by accident that jacket goes over.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think that's his argument right there is that if you mistakenly put it, you instantly become a felon and a criminal.
Look, and I hope that's when, even if it's a felony, I hope that's when deputies and law enforcement use a common sense approach, because it's all about discretion.
Right.
If you're committing a crime, I have discretion whether I'm going to charge you with that crime or not. Yes, I don't think it should be a felon for, like I said, you got a mistake of the mind or mistake of the heart. And if someone intends to commit a crime and is carrying a concealed handgun, it should be a felon. You understand?
Right, yeah.
But if someone, like you said, accidentally put in their purse, and they get stopped, I don't think this mother of 3 who's never committed a crime in her life and works every day should be put in jail for a felony. No, absolutely not. But at the same time, that becomes part of your discretion where, police officers, and I believe that, should have a heart. And look, I've always said this, Isaac, put yourself in the other person's shoes. If you're a deputy, put yourself in the person that you're talking to, in their shoes, and what would you do? And you figure out what's the best alternatives for that crime or that incident. And I do that in everything. We should do that in everything we do, whether we're on looking at the police officers or vice versa.
Yeah, and again, points to the point of the individual too. I'm gonna use for a prime example. I had a shotgun for God knows how long. Didn't have a stopper for the 3 shells in it. Right. I didn't realize that was against the law until I watched Louisiana law. And the first thing I did, Sheriff Becket, I went to the Rustic Renegade to our good friend Caleb Morris.
Absolutely.
And I asked him, hey, how can I get a stopper in here? Did it for me, no problem. And now, but I was ignorant of the law until I found the law out. And I think that's what a lot of people, they want to obey the law. Sometimes they're just not aware of it. And that's where we as individuals and as civilians, we have to do our research. We have to make sure we're doing everything correctly. And that makes your job a lot easier to identify who's the law-abiding citizen and who is the lawbreaker.
Absolutely. And we do this now. If you come to the range and you I want to practice, I want to carry a concealed gun, we do a background on you. Because if you're a felon and you show up at our range, you're going to jail.
Yeah, you're going to jail.
You're going to jail. Because this is for people who follow the law,
Right.
and we're going to train, we're not going to train the criminal.
Right.
We're going to train the people who are defending themselves, and I, any issues, look, a lot of people call. I try to take as many phone calls as I can, Isaac, but in a day, I'll get 50 to 75 calls a day. And I try to resolve the issue. And a lot of times, I get individuals who work for me directly from it to resolve those issues, because it's so many calls a day.
Right.
But I want to be that sheriff who you can contact,
Yeah.
and if it's important and you really need to talk to me, you need to tell my people, look, I need to talk to the sheriff. I don't want to talk to anyone else but the sheriff. And I think a lot of issues that come up, questions, it gets resolved right away.
Yeah. One
One thing we don't do is get into a debate on Facebook. I'll see things that people put about me and about the sheriff's office. I try to call them direct if I can. If I can't, we try to resolve the issues. But look, if you want to have a debate with Becket Breaux, call my office. We'll have a debate. Facebook is not a way to express your frustration. You need to call me, and then we'll work it out. And if that don't work out, then you can express your frustrations all you want.
And I've learned that because look, this show I talk about Joe Biden, I talk about Mitch McConnell, I talk about Mike Johnson, I talk a lot of national politics. But when I come to issues locally, I usually try to reach out. And look, I made that one mistake one time. I called out somebody and I didn't have all the facts.
Right.
Well, Isaac, you have the freedom, yeah, but I shouldn't have took one side.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people do. They take their experience and they want, because bad news travels faster than good news,
Absolutely.
unfortunately. And that's why, hey, I like how you said it. You have an open door policy. You can, if I text you, hey, Sheriff, give me a statement on this, that's there now. I know I'm the media somewhat,
Right.
but but at the same time, if somebody has a question, they can call, and I know for personal experience, you're going to answer.
Yes, sir. And look, and one of the biggest complaints I think we get as an agency is, hey, y'all arrested John Doe yesterday and he's out of jail today. Look, I want to tell you, listeners, our job is to put people in jail. Everybody has a right to bond out.
Right.
And everybody has a right to a fair trial. So after we arrested him, we send the paperwork to the district attorney's office. So it's not the sheriff's office responsibility to get people bonded out or anything else. It's a responsibility of judges determining a bond and going through a bondsman or posting a property bond. But I want to tell the people that, if someone's arrested today and they're out tomorrow, it's not a sheriff's office issue. They like everyone else, they got the right to bond out. And we work very hard. If that person commits a crime again, we're going to put them in jail again. We'll keep on putting them in jail, and sooner or later, the courts are going to get it, and they're going to convict them. It's a shame now, but the courts, especially with COVID, they're trying to catch up, and they're doing a great job now. Bo's doing a great job of catching up with the felons and the people who have committed crimes. But, 3 to 4 years for someone going to trial, that's a long time. So what happens is there's no change of behavior between that when he got caught till they go to trial and convicted, because they bonded out. They never seen jail time. And I'm telling you, it's not good, but they'll commit other crimes in between there. And I think that's a problem we have to address. Between that 3-year, 4-year time before they go to court, they'll commit other crimes. So their crimes are stacking up.
Yeah,
and they didn't even get to the first one, and that's a problem, is because you're not changing anyone's behavior.
Do you think it's a mentality of these criminals that, well, look, we got out, so there's nothing really they can do, so we're free willy-nilly?
Exactly. And then what happens is, let me tell you, Isaac, 1, 2 years, at 1 year, nothing's happened. They never went to court, went to trial. Well, I'm going to commit another crime. Right. And in 2 years, still nothing happened. I didn't even got charged with the first one, much less the second one have anything happening, and they commit the crimes. Look, we're working on our side and our sheriff's office side, making sure there's no delays on our side. And Bodu's office and the working relationship we have with the district attorney's office now is better than ever, and they are doing everything they can to get the criminals, the ones armed robbery, the ones that attempted murders, get them off the streets. Whatever we need to do, go to trial, get them off the streets, so they're not hurting anyone else.
Oh, you sound like you got it all you got your all ducks in a row. I'm just a lonely podcast to me.
No, you're not lonely. There's a lot of people listening to you.
Hey, I was surprised the other day, and I think it's Mr. Charles from the GOP, the state GOP.
Right.
When he came up to me and said, "Hey, you do a show every day?" I was like, "It's hard to do twice a day, twice a week." But at the time, now we're on every day. But But Sheriff Becket, it was nice having you into the studio today, and hope we can do this again soon.
Absolutely.
You get sworn in for your second term, I think, in July, correct?
July, correct, yes.
Yeah. That's weird. Why did you get swear in with everybody else on the beginning of the year?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the fiscal years for the sheriff's office and like the clerk of court ends July, June 30th. So what happens is you sworn in at the fiscal year ends. Because I don't know if you realize it, I have to, as a sheriff, if I'm, let's say I don't want to run another term, I have to make sure that the budget is balanced.
Wow.
Yeah. And look, we are doing so much at the sheriff's office. We built that $4.4 million facility that I'm proud of. I'm going to tell you, Isaac, we didn't increase taxes. We didn't ask for a tax increase or bond issuance. We paid that building off cash. Not only that, we put more money in the bank. But we were able to get, grants and everything to build the building, and I've got a good team, accounting team that works for us, and it's a good thing. And we're fixing to build, St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office got $2.4 million from the legislature, and I'd like to thank our representatives and senators, but we were able to get $2.4 million to build a state-of-the-art training facility.
Wow.
And not only that, it's going to be used for the public. So if they want to come and defensive tactics and stuff, they're going to be doing it in the building. So that's all going to be at the same place, off a main highway near Ruth, all within that, because the sheriff's office has about 20 acres.
Okay.
But our goal is, I guess, and you asked, next 4 years, we need to build a jail.
Okay.
We're one of the smallest jails. Our capacity is 186, but we're one of the smallest jails, and it's antiquated. We just need improvements and build a new or newer facility. So I'm going to work with parish government, Mr. Pete Dalcom.
Yep.
Congratulations on him and all of the representatives and our elected officials, because, we have to be leaders in society in this parish. We have to be leaders. And if we're not, then I would say, like I tell everyone with me, if I'm not doing my job as your sheriff, fire me. I'm telling you. Fire me. You need to elect people that's going to do their job, and if they tell you something, they're going to do something.
Hold them accountable.
Absolutely. I'm proud to say we accomplished 90% of the things I said we were going to do. I still got 10% left. It's taking a little time, but one of them is help facilitate building a jail, and it's a responsibility of parish government. But I want to support that.
You're doing a lot better than a lot of politicians. Look, Joe Biden's been in there for 70 years, and he hasn't.
Yeah, it's empty promises, and
right.
You just gotta listen. You tell someone something, if you call me and ask for help, and I tell you I can't help you, I'm telling you the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not going to tell you I can help you knowing I can't.
But again, like I said, we will see each other again soon.
Absolutely.
But anytime you want to come on, Sheriff Becket, you're more than welcome. The mic is open right there, or telephone, whatever way you want to do it. But until next time, if you have any final words for the listening audience.
Yeah, look, I just want to thank you, Isaac, for having me, and the people of St. Martin Parish. Look, I love what I do, and I love the people of this parish, and I'm going to work hard every day to make sure that we are safe and our families are safe, because that's my kids and that's my families, this is the best job in the world, and I appreciate the people of St. Martin Parish giving it to me.
We're glad to have you, Sheriff Becket.
Thank you.
That was Sheriff Becket Breaux, Sheriff of St. Martin Parish. He's doing a great job here. He's about to enter into his second term. If you want to know more about Sheriff Becket, his website, the St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office website, you can go ahead and find out all the information about Sheriff Becket. That's going to wrap up this show for this Monday morning. Please remember that Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus, your Lord and Savior, just reach out to me at the Cajun Conservative 5 at gmail.com. I'll take you to meet Jesus, your Savior, and heaven your home. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.